Hey guys, this is Dr. Hub. In case you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe to learn and grow daily. Now we look into the layers of the cerebral cortex. Layers of the cerebral cortex. So these layers, it is mainly into three layers. So the first one being the molecular layer. So by molecular layer, it is nothing but the outermost layer. It is the outermost layer. Okay. And it contains the stellate cells and the basket cells. So it contains the stellate and also the basket cells. And they receive excitatory input from the parallel fibers. So excitatory input from that of the parallel fibers. And also it forms the inhibitory synapse on the Purkinje cells. So inhibitory synapse, this is on the Purkinje cells. So they contain many myeloid and the unmyeloid nerve fibers. So it contains many myelinated and also unmyelinated nerve fibers, and it gives rise to pale appearance on H&E staining. So this pale appearance in case of the H&E stain. Next we move on to the Purkinje layer. So we're writing it as P layer or let's write Purkinje layer. So this P layer or the Purkinje layer, there is a middle layer. It is nothing but a middle layer. And it contains the flask-shaped bodies known as the Purkinje cells. The flask-shaped bodies, this is now the Purkinje cells. So what we are noticing is the dendrites, it passes on the molecular layer. So the dendrites, it passes on the molecular layer. And the axons of the Purkinje cells, it passes to the granular layer. The axons, it passes to the granular layer. And so granular layer, and this is into the white matter and the synapse of the cerebral nuclei. So this is to the granular layer into the white matter. So granular layer into the white matter and synapse with the cerebral nuclei and synapse with the cerebral nuclei. Next what we have is the granular layer. So this granular layer is nothing but the innermost layer of the cell bodies. So it is a innermost. It is nothing but the innermost layer. It contains the cell bodies of the granule cells. So it contains the granule cells as well as the Golgi cells. So it contains the granule cells and the Golgi cells. It receives excitatory input from the mossy fibers. So excitatory input is seen. And this excitatory input is from the mossy fibers. So it is from the mossy fibers. Next, they end on the dendrites of the granule. So they end on the dendrites. So they end on the dendrites of the granules and complexes, and they are known as the glomeruli. The axon from the granules, it travels into the molecular layer and bifurcates into the T-shaped. So it goes into the molecular layer and it bifurcates into T-shape. So the branches, it forms from the T, and they are known as parallel fibers. So they are called the parallel fibers. And these parallel fibers, they form the excitatory synapse with that are the Purkinje fibers. So the granules from the only excitatory neurons. So the granule cells. The granule cells form the only excitatory neurons. They form the only excitatory neurons. and this is seen in case of the cerebral cortex, so CC. And the Golgi cells, it receives the input from the parallel fibers and the mossy fibers. So the Golgi cells, they receive the input from the parallel fibers as well as the mossy fibers, and they send inhibitory output to the granule cells, inhibitory output to that of the granule cells. Next, we move on to the neurotransmitters. What are the neurotransmitters which are released? So under this, there is we discussed the stellate and the basket and the Golgi Purkinje cells. So it includes the stellate, the basket, the Golgi and the Purkinje cells. So what are present here? It is nothing but the presence of the GABA. Next is the granule cells. So under the granule cells, what lies? It is nothing but the glutamate. So the neurotransmitter release, first is the stellate, basket, Golgi and Purkinje cells. It includes the GABA. Next, the granule cells, the glutamate. So the only output from the cerebral cortex is inhibitory. So only output from the cerebral cortex, it is nothing but it is inhibitory from the Purkinje cells. You inhibitory from the Purkinje cells to the deep cerebral nuclei. To the deep cerebral nuclei. To watch more videos like these and grow daily, subscribe to the Dr. Hub channel.